Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Money, Real Business podcast. I'm Michelle, and today we have Ashley on the show, who's selling a display ads, Amazon associate, and affiliate business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Hey Ashley, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Great, Michelle. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for making the time to come on today. I'm looking forward to learning more about your business, but before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of it. It's a display ads, Amazon associates, and affiliate business in the apparel and accessories niche created in February of 2018. The average revenue for the business is $3,173 per month, and it makes an average of $3,081 per month in net profit. Included in this sale is a primary domain and all site content and files, a secondary domain with a 301 redirect, social media accounts for Twitter and Pinterest, and an email list with 200 plus subscribers. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 59366 to learn more about this business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So Ashley, now let's hear from you. Can you fill us in on your background in starting and running online businesses?
Sure. I basically started out with the online business game in 2013 when I was building my own SaaS company and realized that I needed to dive deeper into marketing in order to make that work. And then I sort of fell in love with that side of things and gave up on the SaaS product that I was building and became a full-time online marketer, and then gradually moved into building my own websites and businesses from the skills that I learned doing that SEO, website maintenance, that kind of stuff.
And what attracted you to this specific business model?
Yeah, it just fit my skill set really well. I mean, I'm very strong in SEO and keyword research. That's something that I noticed was something I did very well. And running this kind of business is very simple when you're good at those things, I find, because the other side is social media, which I find is a bit more hard to pin down because they're always changing the rules. So, yeah, this fit my skill set really well.
That's really cool. So what inspired you to start this business in particular?
I actually had another one that I was running first, which is one I'm still keeping and running as my main business. This is a side business, and I really thought I should try to supplement my main business because all your eggs in one basket is always something we all try to avoid. So I picked something that didn't seem to be super competitive and hadn't been sort of hammered by the other people in the game, because there tends to be trends in different areas. And I just found something that wasn't overrun with people and picked it up and ran with it from there.
That makes sense. One of the things that I really like about your business is that you have diversified revenue streams, which, can make things a lot more stable. So could you walk us through how your business primarily makes money?
Sure. I mean, it used to be the case that it was more Amazon focused. That's how I used to do things. And then in the last few years, I've been moving away from that for various reasons. The major one is diversification, of course. It's always not a great idea to only have one source, and there's actually three in this business, and one's a smaller one. And then the main one is display advertising, which I moved to probably about 2 years ago. And that does really, really well. It's very easy to implement. The company that I work with is insanely helpful and are always looking to help you optimize things and do a lot of stuff for you. And they've made that transition extremely easy and fantastic, actually.
And did you start the affiliate links and the display advertising at the same time? Or is the affiliate monetization, the non-Amazon ones, is that something that has been started more recently?
Yeah, I mean, that started sort of midway through the life of the site. I used to not do display ads so much. I didn't think they were a great way to make money. And Of course, over time, things change and your opinions change. And I realize that if you structure things the right way, that actually in many cases you can outcompete your affiliate earnings with your advertising earnings. And there's now video ads as well, which the companies are all focusing on. And there's huge amounts of money to be made in the display ad space as well, because you can target informational content as well as focused content. So you can actually make a lot of money across the whole site, which you can't always do as easily with just affiliate links.
Well, I know you're working with one display advertiser or one company. Are you affiliated with multiple affiliate partners and networks, or do you just have one?
On that particular site, I use a smaller company as well as the major one I do for affiliate stuff. And there is also some space still to grow the business to work specifically with suppliers of these products. That's something I haven't pursued because this is kind of my side small business. I actually haven't been specifically focusing on it since last year. I think there's still space to grow there, but there's one main affiliate link site there and then a smaller one. And as I said, there's always space for working directly with companies or other affiliates in the space.
Well, I know you've kind of got a lot going on. You've got other businesses that you're looking at or that you're taking care of, but why have you decided to sell this one?
Yeah, there's a whole host of reasons. I mean, there's always a time, of course, where you have to make a decision. Do you keep focusing on something and spreading your time over? That's one of the reasons I decided to think about selling this and seeing if I get the right offer on it. And I mean, I could continue to build it out, but I only have so much time on my hands. My other main site is larger, and I have a bunch of other smaller ones as well, and I don't want to grow my team significantly larger. And at the same time, I'm also taking a lot of time off in the coming year or two where I won't have so much time to focus on actually giving up my house and most of my belongings and going and living in a van full-time with my partner. So her and I have this plan for a few years, and obviously the issues in the world have put a stop to that lately. But we're doing that in a month's time. So not having this business to take care of would make my life a little bit easier as well, of course.
That sounds like a really fun adventure. What would you say while you were building this business and running it, what would you say was your biggest win?
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's always an interesting game depending on which particular niche you choose, but finding the right keywords for me, the right sort of topics to focus on and to get in between the cracks of all the big players and the other people playing in the game. That for me is always sort of the biggest success that I find and always drives me to go further is just to see that traffic increase and to see that you can still find topics that other people haven't found despite thinking that the niche is saturated. It never really is.
And what would you say is your biggest setback or challenge?
Yeah, I'd have to say last year. Was it last year? No, it was the year before when, COVID struck. It wasn't such a big issue for this site, but it was kind of an issue in general. Companies were reevaluating their payouts and some commissions were changing. And so I had to really rethink my focus on the affiliate side of the business and then start pushing more into the advertising space, which was one of the drivers for doing that. And then I, of course, had to rethink how I did things because I used to be mostly affiliate focused. And that's turned out really, really well. Of course, that was not a given result at the time. But after sort of 6 months, it was pretty clear that that was a good decision.
Yeah, I'm sure that at the time, though, it was a bit of a risk that you were taking, going in a different direction, probably a little bit scary. So I was going to ask you, where does the majority of your traffic currently come from?
Yeah, as with all my sites, it's SEO based. There's some Pinterest stuff. The niche lends itself probably even more than I've been doing. At least I have an account, it's running, it's bringing in some traffic, but I generally focus on SEO and Google. And obviously the other search engines play some role as well, but Google majority of the time because I just find it the simplest and easiest way to get consistent traffic. And if you do things in the right way with Google and you set your site up in the right way, even though some people are scared of it, I find that it remains plus or minus 5 or 10% pretty consistent. As long as you just keep building the site and doing the right things, Google generally is happy and will keep throwing traffic your way.
I think one of the things that people misunderstand sometimes about SEO is they tend to focus solely on the keywords. And I know you've got a lot of knowledge in SEO that you've applied to this site and your other sites. And so what can you tell us about some of the optimization that you've done aside from keyword research, backlinks, things like that?
Yeah, there's a bit of a mixture there. I mean, I think it was probably 2 or 3 years ago, I hired a conversion optimization team to work on that side and my other site and try to optimize the money that was being made off the affiliate income sites, especially the big pages. And I've then taken all of their optimizations and learnings and turn them into a template that I've applied across the whole site. So, yeah, whoever takes the site basically doesn't have to understand that and know anything about it. There's templates in the back end to apply all of that stuff. So it's been conversion optimized. And I mean, of course, you can always do more optimizations, but the biggest wins are already built into the website. And on top of that, I also do a lot of website speed optimizations as well. That's something that I used to do a lot for clients when I was still working for clients. So the website usually runs really fast. It's all green in Google's eyes. Google's very focused on website speed right now. So the site's running very fast and very well in Google's eyes. And of course, that means that people are accessing the site very fast and are very happy to stay on the site as well.
So in terms of marketing, are you doing anything? You had mentioned Pinterest. Is there anything else that you're doing?
There's more I should be doing. One of the reasons I guess I'm selling it is that there's definitely a lot of room to improve, I would say, especially in the email list area. That's definitely something that would be an easy win on the site. I haven't spent a lot of time on that because this is, for me, one of my smaller secondary sites. So I've just sort of kept the wheels turning on it, been doing some link building over the years, and I did a bit towards the end of last year to sort of push up the best posts. But I haven't been specifically focusing on doing any extra Pinterest or Instagram or even email list building. Those are things that I would certainly recommend to a new buyer of the site.
And aside from those, what do you see as the other major opportunities for growth with this business?
Yeah, I still think there's a lot of room to move. I mean, I've focused on sort of the mid to bottom end of the market where not as many people were focusing, and there was a lot of big wins in that area, but I think there's still a huge range of products and topics that can be covered in this specific sub-niche of sort of apparel and accessories. And then you could, of course, expand out from that and do shoulder niches, very similar, not exactly the same, but related niches. So you could move into supplementary topics that I haven't touched at all. And I know from my experience that once you have the site up and running and ranking really well in Google, which this one is, it's very easy to do a secondary niche which supplements the one you're doing and start ranking very fast in that as well. So I would certainly do more products that I haven't done and then do supplementary niche as well.
I know that you've recently taken your foot off the gas a bit with this site, but what could you tell us about your content creation process as it was when you were a little bit more focused on the site?
Yeah, I use a variety of different techniques to find topics. I use sort of some keyword idea generation techniques that I've been using, that I've developed over the years to just try to find the cracks in the niche, so to speak. And then the other simple one is to use SEO tools and pick apart your competitors that are on a similar or slightly higher footing to yourself, because if you go for the big guns, you're probably going to be disappointed. But yeah, if you find what other people are doing, it may give you just a simple lead into a topic direction that you've never attacked before. And that's what I've continued to do as I've created new areas in the site. I've gone, I didn't think about specific general line of thinking in this niche. So I would expand that one idea and think about 20 other ideas that are more or less the same, but with a different name or a different location or a different topic or whatever. And that's one way to just grab 10 or 20 posts. And then I always make sure they're well optimized and structured and have pictures. And I mean, you can easily train someone to do this kind of thing who knows how to write content, and you can kind of stand back and give them the idea and then they can generate the content from there.
I like that process. And who was creating your content?
Majority of it was me in this case, even though I probably shouldn't have been spending my time on it. I kind of got really interested in it for a while. And then the last year, one of my writers from my main site has just done a few here and there for me when I haven't had time. And I had a guy a couple of years back who used to work for me, but then had some personal issues and had to step away. So then I started writing again. So I'd say probably 80% of it has been me over the years.
And how often were you adding content?
I mean, initially it was probably a few posts per month, maybe 4 or 5. And then last year I didn't do a lot. I probably did 20 or 30, but just in batches of 5 or 10. I think I did some towards the end of the year and some in the middle of the year. And that was enough to bring some more high-ranking content on. I mean, you can certainly do as much or as little as you want when it comes to these kind of sites. There's no minimum requirement from Google. Consistency is never a bad thing, but that also hasn't hurt the website not being consistent. So, yeah, that's it.
And so what does a typical week look like for you when running this business?
Well, luckily, of late, I've been winding it down. But normally I work with my team on my sites. I mean, for this business, myself, I don't really have a specific process because it was just a side task where I would do things when I had time. But if I was running it as a proper business, I have my assistant doing maybe some link building and outreach and post optimizations and formatting and stuff. And then I would have my writers generating content and delivering it into the spreadsheet that I would have maintaining all of that content. So that's how I have my main site set up. I didn't really have this site set up in that way, but there's certainly some better ways of doing it with structure if you get people involved from different areas and having them work at least to a rough Excel sheet process. And then I would just come in with strategy, content ideas, optimization ideas, fixing broken affiliate links, doing that periodically, checking if images aren't broken, making sure Google's happy, checking Search Console. You sort of have periodic times where you go through these things. And then just links and content generation was my main tasks.
Excellent. Ashley, what do you think the biggest challenge will be for a buyer taking over this business?
Kind of depends on what they know about doing this kind of work, I guess. I mean, if you took it as it was and just ran it, I would imagine it would run for years more or less the same. Of course, Google's often changing the algorithm a little bit. You have to keep an eye on how your rankings are doing. And generally, I would continue doing what I was doing, which is actually what I teach a friend of mine who's trying to get into this as well, which is create new content and find ways to get links. And you can always do that through various suppliers as well if you don't want to learn how to do that. So it's relatively easy, actually. You just need to find a writer and a supplier of links and then learn how to come up with topics. And I can certainly give buyers who are interested in the website ideas on how I do that and shortcuts to finding topics in shorter amounts of time and tips and tricks I use to do that, because that's probably one of the most challenging areas. The rest can generally be automated, I would say, with staff or outsourcing.
And how much support are you offering buyers?
I'll certainly do a couple of calls with people, and then I can do email support for 30 days after purchase. And then that should be more than enough, I would imagine. I'm certainly a good teacher when it comes to websites, so they should be good to go.
And would you commit to a non-compete?
A non-compete is certainly no problem. I don't have any other websites in this niche.
And are you open to negotiating something like an earn-out?
I don't think an earn-out makes sense with a small website like this, so I'm looking to just get an outright purchase.
Completely understandable. Before we wrap up, I just kind of wanted to touch upon something that I thought was really cool with your business, that you have a partially custom-built platform. And I was kind of curious if you could go into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about being a former web developer is that I can code. And I was saying before with the optimizations, I took the formats and structure of the optimizations that the people did for me, and of course the best practices that most people use in the industry for posts of various styles, and took that and made a format out of it, and then hooked that up to a form field kind of structure. So when you're creating blog posts of this specific style, all you need to do is copy and paste the data into the fields, or you can get your assistant or your writers to do that, which I trained mine to do. And it's very simple. Basically, once you do that, and then you click preview, you'll see this very nicely formatted, sexy kind of blog post that's all optimized and looks really nice and has the color scheme of the blog. So from memory, I think there's 2 or 3, I think maybe only 2 on this website, 2 structures. I think it's review type posts and best type posts. So like best tables for camping kind of posts are all structured like that. So it's really nice for people to use those, and you shouldn't have to touch those at all in the future. There's just a specific WordPress plugin that you need for that, and it's very easy. No technical knowledge is required.
That sounds like a great asset. So if you're putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
For me, it's very easy to run. Basically done not much myself in the last year. So if you want something you don't have to spend too much time on, it's an easy place to start. If you want it as something to springboard from and grow, there's also a lot of opportunity for growth. As I said, you can either go into side niches, extra areas within the niche. You can also go into social media, email lists, and learn all of those, or apply your knowledge that you already have in those areas. So the site itself is doing really well in what it's doing, but there's so many different ways you could grow it. And it's in a really good standing in terms of SEO and Google, so you shouldn't be needing to worry about that area at all. So it's actually almost perfect for most people's situation, I would say.
And is there anything else you'd like to share that we might not have covered?
No, I think that's it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Ashley, for coming on and giving us a little more insight into you and your business. It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here.
Thanks, Michelle.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 59366. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.